On this episode of the Bookie and Bettors show, it's the fantasy football episode. Woo! Of course we have a fantasy football episode just before the season starts. College football is really back. LeBron set some boundaries with Bronny. Mike Tomlin names his starting quarterback, and nerves. All coming right on up.
It's time for the Bookie and The Bettors show. If you're a sports fan, now it's time to play the odds and make every bet count. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service. Now introducing Rob Kowalski, the Bookie, and Randy White, the Bettor.
It is another episode of the Bookie and Bettors show. I am your host, Robert Kowalski, and it is the episode just before our regular season of the NFL begins. Gentlemen, I am once again joined by the finest of them, Nick Schulte,
Hey.
Randy White.
Hey, Rob.
From the Book at Baldini's, we are going to bring you everything you need to know to prepare not only for the pro football season, for the college football season, and of course, everything else in between. Of course, as we begin, if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe everything that we do here because we do it for you. Really. No, honestly. I really enjoy this. I like sharing information.
Yeah, it's fun. We have a good time here.
So, to start with some starting of the seasons, college football was back, but it's even more back this week. Randy White, Nick Schulte, 3 games that I circled that I can't wait to see which way you both go. Let's start off with Saturday game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. It is the Clemson Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs.
But I got a question first. I mean, it's hard to believe it's September. We're coming up at September 1st.
Where does the year go?
College football, you got to help me understand this. This is week 1. But they play games last week and call it week 0.
That's right.
I'm just curious, where did that terminology come from?
I made it.
Well, I believe in math class, 0 is a number.
It is.
Oh.
Okay, well, hey, here we go. It's week 1.
I wish someone taught me when I was very young that as long as I knew 0 through 9, that's all you need to be concentrating on.
Yep.
Kids these days don't know how much better they have it by
Have
knowing
you seen
this.
how they got to do long division these days?
I did, and I refuse to accept that. It's wrong, by the way.
Yeah. Anyways.
Clemson Bulldogs, 14, actually 13.5 at the Book of Baldini's right now. The total set to 49. Gentlemen, Clemson ended their season with a 9-4 record. The last time they stepped on the field, the Tigers faced the Kentucky Wildcats. Took home the win by a score of 38-35. Whole lot of yards last year. Clemson Tigers earned 5,200 total yards for the prior campaign. 20 touchdowns through the air, 23 touchdowns on the ground. But Georgia, boy oh boy, they finished their season 13-1 when they last played, of course. We know what they did to Florida State. That was very, very ugly, 63-3.
Yeah.
So lots, of course, has changed. Lots of maneuvers, of course. We know kids graduate. They move on to bigger and better things. So
there's also this transfer portal thing, too.
The transfer portal we will be definitely discussing. So in relation to their ability to score points, let's start right there. The Bulldogs have a ranking of 5th in D1 with a maintained average of about 40 points per game. Georgia Bulldogs average almost 500 yards per outing. Have them ranked 5th in Division 1. Now, they also allow the opposition a total of 1,590 yards. That's only 113 yards, give or take, per outing, in addition to 13 touchdowns rushing throughout last season.
Just to clarify, we're talking total yards or rushing?
No, total yards.
And they still managed to lose a game?
How about that? Didn't seem to matter. They made their way into the championship game. Of course, everything's different now. 12 participants in this year's playoff format. So even if Georgia does lose a game, they'll probably make it in. But we'll talk about that as we get closer to Thanksgiving. Randy, let's go ahead and start off with you. How do you find Clemson as a 13.5-point dog? Total about 49.5.
Well, and I think you hit it just a second ago. Clemson's going to have to throw the football. They're not going to be able to run on Georgia's defense. So the question being is, I had this game at 15.5. I just don't think that Clemson will have enough offense to stay with Georgia because I don't think they're going to be able to run the football. And when you start passing and dropping back and they know you're dropping back,
That's you're absolutely right. And not only that, but then Nick, to lay into that, when they're also having them sitting ninth in college football by allowing only 13 touchdowns through the air. Their defense totaled 3 fumbles, 14 picks last season. Bulldogs defense took part in 848 plays, which ranked them 66th in college football. So that's an awful lot of 3 and outs.
I'd love to see those stats when they play a ranked team versus, because it's college. There's so many mismatches throughout the season. Oh, you can get some great games and energy is all about it. But, obviously we know there's a lot of mismatches. I still go back to, the first couple weeks, you never know. We talked about the transfer portal, kids that have, left and kids that have really stepped up over the offseason. So, who really knows what's going to happen? But I would venture to say I'd kind of agree with Randy. I think if I was going to take a side on this one, it would be Georgia.
And the big thing with Clemson is the transfer portal. And you look at some of the players they've lost. With the transfer portal now as big as it is in college football, I would have to say Dabo, he's lost some of that great talent level that he might have been able to get when they were winning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, Georgia's they were number 1 in recruiting again. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Moving on to a program that sure would like to have some transfers move their way. Let's go to Troy, Alabama, our very own Nevada Wolfpack playing against Troy. This game is Saturday, and the total right now, 44.5. Trojans almost a 10-point favorite.
That's it.
As hosts of the Nevada Wolfpack. We did see them a little bit surprised. Wolfpack hold on to a lead through 3 quarters. Obviously, we know what happened last year, 2-10 record. But really more of what I wanted to focus on is what happened against SMU. And I honestly think that with the way last year went, this to me, despite the, fold and loss, still looked like an improvement against expectations. So, Nick, I'll go ahead and let you start off here. Troy, obviously, definitely not bad, not good. The 38th in college football, 419 yards per game. Offense compiled 655 penalty yards on 73 violations, which was good for 70th in D1 in terms of helping out the other team. They also held an average of 153 yards per game via the rush and ran for about 2,100 yards in total. So, 55th in the country while averaging 29.6 points per game. They are very friendly when it comes to their defense. Okay. 9 points. Too much?
I would like to say not enough. Obviously, new program in Nevada, new coach, probably a whole new team for lack of a better term. But what I learned last year, the trend is your friend. And until Nevada can really prove that they can consistently win a game, and I want to say win a game, but they're kind of like the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders of college, where they just find a way to lose a game when it comes down to that fourth quarter. So at 9 points, I definitely take Troy on that one.
I'm not sure exactly where I should stop here, but maybe Randy could tell me what's the good number.
Well, I actually have it at 10. And again, Troy's got a stronger defense this year. Nevada, again, the linebacker play with the Wolfpack last week I thought was phenomenal. It's the best I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
And they can go sideline to sideline. Defensive front didn't put any pressure on. And again, Troy will try to mix it up, run and pass. So that defensive line they did a great job for 3 quarters last week against the run. So that's where the depth comes into play and that humidity in Alabama. Mm-hmm. They've got to be able to, the defensive front has to put some pressure on. Again, the offense, a few players got banged up. I didn't see anybody on the injury report.
No.
The passing game for Nevada is not very good. And, again, the big kid, Bram from West Virginia, he looked good, but we didn't have anybody else that really stood out. We got to use the tight end. You can have this run-pass offense, throw to the tight end. And I noticed last week, I went back and watched the film on the game again. Tight end could have been open for quite a few receptions. We didn't do it. And he's platooning those backs with Dollars and the kid from Xavier from Texas. We got to see what they're going to do. If he can throw the football, and I know Chuba, I think is released. Today they said he's going to make the trip with him. They left today. But Nevada, with the depth and humidity, That's where it concerns me. I love the under in this game. Big time under.
Okay.
I think the final score could be 21-7, 21-10, somewhere in that ballpark.
Oh, close. I was about to say if I could push you to a side here, but it looks like
it
looks like a double-digit win.
Nevada's on Saturday games straight up. Their last 20 is 2-18.
And that's not good.
No.
Let's take a look at a game that is very good. On Sunday, the standalone, the USC Trojans and the LSU Tigers. This game is in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, nationally televised game. I opened this one up a long, long time ago. At the Book at Baldini's, we opened up the LSU was 6, and I got bet down to the point where right now we've got the line at LSU minus 4.5. The total 64.5. And, of course, like I said, it's at Allegiant Stadium. It's a location where this game is going to be played. Total pretty high. Obviously, USC wrapped up their year last year at an 8-5 mark. LSU, well, we know exactly how they performed. So many points, so many yards. Number 1 in the nation in yards per contest. Lots of graduates that have moved on to the NFL. But that's not going to stop them, being that they also allow 28 points per game per contest. This looks like that 63 looks like an appropriate number. Mm-hmm. Randy Wyke, break this one down for me.
Well, LSU is going to be a little weaker on defense this year. So, and USC hasn't been known for their great defenses. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. This game could actually be a 38-35 type game. Okay. And I have it as a field goal right now. USC does have some talent on the offensive side of the ball, but defense, again, it's going to be a question of how many can LSU score. And again, I think the neutral site comes into play here.
It does, right?
So I think it'll be a close game.
Not to get off the touch, why do they do that? I mean,
to play at a neutral field.
Yeah.
It's opening weekends. Let's drum up real interest in college football. Neutral site.
Watch this kid from USC, this Zachariah Branch. He is the real deal. I watched film on him again last night. The guy is exciting. If he gets, you don't kick to him. I'm telling you right now, do not kick to this kid. He will score this week if they kick to him.
Nick, it's at 4.5. Is this game a final play kind of game? You think it's that close, or you think that that 6 actually was a good number that I said a couple of months back?
Again, like I said before, you go back to the first week. I don't generally put too much stock into it, but my gut tells me on this one, LSU wins in a blowout.
This is all very, very good information that we'll have on a regular basis. Of course, as you know, you've been tuning in every single episode, but now, actually, that we're into pro and college football, we're going to choose a good handful of games that I know everyone's going to want to have interest in, regardless of if the point spread's double digits or not. These are games that are going to be nationally televised. It's worth talking about them, I would think. Mm-hmm. So it's something I'd like to keep watching. Obviously, something that's always on national TV, moving from college to pro.
Another game you want to watch out for, and really looking at it from a total standpoint, is the North Carolina-Minnesota game. There's going to be a lot of points in that game. A lot. And I don't think either defense will be able to stop the other offenses. So I think it'll be a high-scoring game. And now let's watch for that.
My college football insider told me West Virginia over Penn State. Penn State's getting, I believe, 8. Penn State will win, but will not cover.
I have West Virginia on that as well.
So we have a college football insider, and we also have I have West Virginia as well.
Yeah, I just like them at home.
And we also threw in a North Carolina, Minnesota over the total. You do understand right now, as you said that, and who knows when this is going to air, because this game is at 6 p.m. tonight. The number just moved to 52.5. If you would have done this episode at, let's just say, over coffee with me this morning, it would have been 48.
Oh, it's jumped that much.
Right. So are you going over 52, Randy?
I am. I don't think either team can stop the other team.
Chris,
you might have a 34-31 game in this one.
Chris, there's a lot that goes on the record. And Randy's just right now, he's just spewing all kinds of information.
It's that Wyke 4000.
If I can hold on to I got my stash money that my wife doesn't
know. You don't
so
have any stash money.
I bet some money on it.
No, you didn't.
If I lose, I won't have that stash money.
You're going over 52.
I am.
I'm going to lead with that in the cold open next week.
Okay.
I've done these episodes with you both for a number of weeks now.
Mhm.
And so something that I don't really have when we roll live are nerves. It's a conversation that we have. To me, this is fun. This is just you and me and a microphone and everyone else that tunes in and watches
Nerves.
us.
N-E-R-V-E-S.
Nerves. Nerves. I don't have nerves when it comes to this.
Come over on my side of the chair.
Again, seems to be a you problem.
I know, dang it. Sorry, folks.
Someone that doesn't have nerves that I saw this past week, if you happen to follow Hard Knocks, another fun little series that's on, I was going to say cable TV, but on streaming now. Caleb Williams, we've mentioned him before, was with USC, now a Chicago Bear. He says he hasn't been nervous since his first high school game, and he's not nervous now. Good or bad, Nick Schulte?
I think he's going to be the biggest flop to ever come out of college. I personally, I can't stand people that just talk about themselves and they've yet to play at least one down in an NFL game.
Does he talk about himself in the third person?
I don't. Again, I just tune it out. I don't even want to listen to him. I'm like, all I remember hearing last year was, "Oh, I'm going to be the number 1 overall pick, and whoever drafts me, I want an ownership stake in the team."
Well,
I'm like,
yes.
And the big thing is, he may say he's not nervous, but you look back to some of the games last year, you can always tell when a quarterback's nervous because they get happy feet when they drop back.
I knew you were going to say happy feet.
If they get happy feet when they drop back, I don't care what he says. He's nervous. The game he had 3 interceptions, he had happy feet.
So happy feet equals nerves.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
So are you, to finish this, a quarterback that is not nervous, is that a quarterback that you want to have?
Yeah. I and again, I talk about the greats. You look at a Brady, you look at Joe Montana, and I go back to the Joe Montana in the Super Bowl with Cincinnati when he seen John Candy up in the stand near the end of the game on their final drive.
The ex-actor that's no longer alive?
Yeah. And Montana changed because everybody was a little high-strung on that last possession, and he pointed out to the offensive team that John Candy was up there in the stands. Those are the type guys you want when it gets down to the nitty-gritty. On a 2-minute drive, you don't want a quarterback that's nervous.
I'm gonna actually have to pay a premium for Chris to do this. I'm going to isolate every overused saying that we've had since the inception in the archives.
Okay.
Nitty-gritty has to be the Mount Rushmore for you.
Okay.
That and defense wins championships.
Turn out the lights, the party's over.
Randy Wyke, fill in the blank. It's blank that LeBron has forbidden Bronny from calling him dad in the workplace.
It's ridiculous.
Don't call me dad.
Yeah. What? He's your kid. What is he supposed to call you?
LeBron.
Really?
I don't know.
I thought it was King James.
I'm presenting this to you. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It absolutely is ridiculous. And this is why the Lakers won't win. Is because he does this
he
kind
won't
of
allow
stuff.
his son to call him dad in the workplace. Yeah. Nick Schulte, fill in the blank. It's blank that LeBron has forbidden Bronny from calling him dad in the workplace.
I'm going to go BS. You remember me bitching about this back when it happened. I don't understand why they drafted this kid. There was nothing really great in college that I saw. It's a play for money, you know. I mean, whoever drafts this kid, I mean, LeBron, credit to him and the guys that believe a self-made billionaire just off of basically his basketball. I mean, he does okay, I'm sure, with his shoe deals, but it's nothing like Jordan where he made all his money off shoes.
It's different.
So,
different time.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's very successful for himself, and you know, I'm sure Bronny, even though he was never a starter, probably had one hell of an NIL deal. So I mean, just the sponsorship dollars and the viewership that's going to come just to see the duo father-son play. Yeah, it makes perfect sense if you're the owner. But and I agree. If I had my son there, yeah, you're not calling me dad in the workplace.
Excellent, gentlemen.
Hey, 2-3. What do you think?
Yeah.
2-3 is good.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Hey, 2-3.
Yeah.
Instead of dad.
Yeah.
Hey, 2-3.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson has been named the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers by Mike Tomlin. Nick Schulte, is this the right move?
Yeah, I mean, Russell, obviously, he's played in the league a long time. Denver didn't really work out too well for him. If they can recreate some of that Seattle magic they had, I think, having beast mode probably helped. And credit to Russell Wilson, because he was involved in probably the greatest Super Bowl play of all time, when you're on the 1-yard line and you throw a pick six. And it wasn't a pick six. You threw the interception, and that interception ended up making me, I think, $2,800 when it was all said and done.
I'm sensing
so very happy.
a very heavy amount of vitriol here. I don't know if that has anything to do with Fields versus Wilson, but I think you're very happy with this selection.
A general hate for Wilson. Let's just go with that. I mean, if any Niners fan, I think they feel the same way. So,
Randy White, Russell Wilson, starting quarterback. Is this the right move?
I think it is for these first couple of games. The big question with Russell Wilson now is his mobility. I think Fields is a little bit more mobile. I think Russell Wilson's a better passer. But, obviously from the standpoint, if they start losing,
yeah, they're going to make a change.
He'll be pulled.
Okay, great.
Now, the next question I think would be do they go kind of a dual threat? Where they kind of, swap them in and out? And
I was going to go even level up to that. Total number of starts by Russell Wilson. We see him pulled.
Well, he's getting up there, right? He's got to be 30.
Well, the question is he going to perform? Is this team going to make the playoffs?
I'm thinking injury. I'm thinking injury.
Injury. Okay.
Obviously, if they start to lose, they might make the change there. But I'm going to say 8.
8. Okay.
I have it at 8.
I like that number. Okay. So we'll just call it at 8. It's a perfect number for everybody.
And again, it's about the offense. If they can move the ball by throwing, Russell's the guy. But if that offensive line can't hold up, to your point, he's not going to last throughout the season. And he's not mobile enough to get out of the pocket antemore.
Not anymore.
I would love a passing offense there, because I do have Pickens in my fantasy football league. So,
what an man, Nick, you are such a beautiful human being. What a perfect dovetail as we move to our final segment of today's episode. A little bit of fantasy sports. I'm going to touch on this from a different way, different perspective. What we want to do is we're going to pick your weapon. We're going to go and take a look at some seasoned leaders from a prop perspective that we offer at the Book of Baldini's. And it'll lend some of our listeners and viewers an idea for who we like to perform maybe better than the usual suspects. But first things first. Nick Schulte, you had a brilliant fantasy football league last year.
Mm-hmm.
Who won that league last year?
I don't remember. I kind of blacked out after the whole Niners situation.
Randy, do you remember who won the league last year?
No.
It was me.
Well, shocking. I mean, I would assume the bookie probably should
I won this
year,
league.
But,
Correct.
Okay.
You know what else I won?
Nobody told me we could bring props.
I won this championship last year.
I like it.
And for those of you that are listening, I'm sorry. You really might want to go ahead and tune in for this one, because, yes, this is my championship belt.
That belt is bigger than you are.
This belt weighs significantly more than you could ever imagine. And I was
It looks like a WWE belt.
I was granted this championship belt just days ago. I met up with my great friends, commissioner of my league. Mm-hmm. These are my friends that we go back over 20 years. These are all friends that I used to work with at Shea Stadium. The league went dormant, and I said, if we're ever going to do this right, and we're going to do this league right ever again, money's good. But this lasts forever.
That's nice.
Yeah.
This is my belt.
You can't put a price tag on that.
This is my belt.
Now,
and until I lose the championship,
yeah.
If I lose a championship, that is when we'll have a ceremony, and I will give this belt to whoever wins it next.
Now, I'm taking it, the Shea Men
As
Football
in
League?
Shea Stadium. That is correct.
So this is all East Coast
all
boys.
East Coast.
Okay.
Everyone is either a graduate or no more than 1 degree separated. Actually, now that I think about it, no. Everyone in the league today has either been like season ticket holder or has actually worked for the New York Mets.
Oh, very cool.
So
do every Sunday, I'm assuming you wear that, right?
to the camera.
Oh, no.
Trust
me. This is seen. I know it. Chris has probably zoomed in several times already. Don't worry about it. This belt's going to be presented for this episode.
Yeah. Holy.
So
That's some high quality stuff there too.
You and Triple H. You and Triple H.
champion.
Yeah.
Just so, I mean, look, I never really come out and start talking about my bona fides.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this.
Hulk
Now
Hogan.
we could continue
That's bigger
this
than Hulk
segment.
Hogan.
Okay. That's pretty
That's nice.
badass.
That's nice.
The most regular season passing yards is a prop that we offer.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, we've got odds on every starting quarterback and their backups. Right now, I could tell you from the top to the top 5. CJ Stroud is plus 750. Mahomes, 8-1. Joe Burrow, plus 950. Dak Prescott, the same price. Jared Goff, 10-1. Do you like any of those, or would you like a price on somebody else?
I'm going to tell you right now. Take this to the bank.
Money in the
I
bank.
love the money in the bank. Mount Rushmore.
If they stay healthy and he stays healthy, Joe Burrow is going to bring this league to something you've never seen before. I really believe if he's healthy this year, they're going to win. They've bolstered their offensive line. He's going to have time to throw the football, and he's already got the 3 best wideouts in football, I think. Watch out for him.
Fair.
At what is he, plus 9?
No, plus 950.
I love Joe Burrow.
Your number's on Joe Burrow, plus
Yep.
950.
Yep.
Okay. It's not the favorite. It's the third choice. Surprising second-year starter CJ Stroud is your favorite to actually have the most regular season passing yards. However, Nick Schulte, do you agree with that number? Or you like someone not even in my group yet?
I'm not
Taking nothing. Brock Purdy in Atlanta.
You know he's going to get there at some point.
Okay, fine. Fair enough for the show. 21-1 for the most passing yards.
How do you not take that?
I don't know. Brandon Ayuk's not going to be with the team.
You still got Debo. You still
George
got
Kittle would have to
You got
have the
CMC,
greatest
which,
year.
So,
You know what? I take that back. I take that back. I know we can't erase. You want to back someone at 21-1? I can never fault you.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I mean, get you in a good position to kind of.
I just wish it wasn't someone from San Francisco.
Oh, sorry. I would say in your group, I liked Goff at 10-1. I think hey they can come back this season. Another kind of sleeper choice, and I'm thinking he might be pretty high up there. What's Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, he's my last one on this list. That's a very good point. Aaron Rodgers, 28-1. If you just look at pure like base math at the number of quarterbacks in the league at 28-1.
Is there an over/under how many games Rodgers will play before he gets hurt?
Go ahead and you set your number. I'll let you know if I max bet one side or another.
Well, I'm not going to give it publicly, but I have a number.
You want to give it to privately? Well,
Yeah,
like once we're off the show?
Yeah.
Okay. I like coffee. We could do that.
But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not to get off the subject, but when you start talking about fantasy, Kansas City is going to have a real tough time. They're a year older across the board, and if you look at this team and some of the talent that's in that conference, they may not get out of the AFC.
So is there a prop out there? Will there be a three-peat?
Thank you. I was going to say, Randy Wyke, you do not go against a back-to-back. But you can, if anyone's going to be concerned about.
To his point, though, we're talking regular season, and
yes,
points.
That's right.
I believe that the Chiefs are a different team in the playoffs, and they know how to win. And I did see yesterday that they just signed a new, I think it was a 4-year, $200 million extension with the refs. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think that kind of helps. I mean, come on, no offensive holding calls in the last. I digress. I'm not going to go off the deep end on this one.
They're a year older, and it's tough to repeat, and really and not make heavy changes or heavy new players, if you will.
So you're completely on the no side of.
Absolutely.
If you had a no price, which is let's just call it minus 900.
Take it to the bank. It will not happen.
It's like 900.
Wait, no on what?
No on Kansas City winning the Super Bowl, which I would correlate to like minus 900. Need a loan, Randy?
So then what's the yes?
Plus 650 to win the Super Bowl.
What we have odds?
Yeah, 650.
Who are they number one?
They are number one by a smidge.
Who is number one?
Yeah, them, the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
Right. Number 2, San Francisco.
Oh.
But we did talk about them a couple of weeks ago in the schedule that they have to play and the rest that they're going to get.
But again, just make it to the playoffs. If they could just make it to the playoffs, which they should do, we should be good.
As long as the wheels aren't falling off.
But again, you look at like kind of the Baltimore Ravens, last couple of seasons, they do okay, if you will, or decent in the regular season, and then come to the playoff times, they just kind of fall apart. So, and I think that the Chiefs are the exact opposite of that. So I would say, as far as I would take the yes.
Okay.
There will be a three-peat. Has there ever
So
been
happy.
a three-peat?
This is great.
in the NFL?
Maybe back in Randy's days, back when they had the rotary dial.
Okay. It was before TV.
Yeah.
Before I had the computer.
Let's move on. We've got 2 more categories, gentlemen, for our listening and watching public. Most regular season rushing yards for the 2024-25 season. Lead it off with Christian McCaffrey at plus 650. Jonathan Taylor is 8-1. Bijan Robinson 8-1. Breece Hall plus 950. And Derrick Henry, now a Raven, at 10-1. I've got a boatload of other players here. So are you taking someone in the top 5, or let me see what's behind curtain number 3, Mr. Bookie?
Just really quick, I want to clarify, because these are one of those things I see at the book, and in my early days of sports betting, I got kind of trapped a few times in this.
Please.
Is it rush yards or total yards?
No, this is rushing yards only.
Because if it was total yards, I think CMC
Give
all
me
day
those
long.
odds.
But
Give
no,
me those odds again.
Christian McCaffrey's plus 650. He is the favorite in this category. Jonathan Taylor, 8-1. Bijan Robinson, 8-1. Breece Hall, plus 950. Derrick Henry, 10-1. Followed by Saquon Barkley, also 10-1. Or other.
I would take Hall and Henry.
Hall and Henry, splitting your difference right there, grabbing the both of them. Obviously, Hall had himself an incredible season last year.
He had some help
only
too,
build
with
on
not
that.
having a quarterback.
True that. And Derrick Henry, of course, is now going to have a far, far better offensive line, a better offense.
But back to that point, I mean, do you think, Rodgers, obviously he's one of the greats, but is he going to have any rust coming off? I mean, really, when's the last time he played a full NFL game? You're going on 2 years now, right?
Yes,
new
that's correct.
team,
new system, new everything.
So
Okay. Fair enough there. Randy Wyke.
Bijan. Big year for Bijan. I really like him a lot. I think that Falcon team is definitely improved.
Mm-hmm.
And he's younger than these guys. So he hasn't had all those carries. That's why I like him.
I mentioned a couple of other prices back, I think maybe an episode ago or two. Obviously, I've got pretty much every starting running back on here. So some of the other prices that intrigued me was Isaiah Pacheco of the back-to-back champions at 28-1. And then Kenneth Walker, the third from Seattle, who I think is going to have himself an incredible year.
I like that.
29-1 as well, right there in the back end, right behind Rashad White.
Where's
31.
Barkley on there?
Barkley was tied. I mentioned him at the second half. Henry and Barkley, both 10-1.
So I would go the opposite on Barkley. If there's what's the total yards for the season on him?
Total yards?
Mm-hmm.
Probably in the vicinity of about 1,500.
I'd take the under all day long. That one. I think he's not going to have a good year.
I'll annotate that as well.
I'll throw him in the
for
same category as the Caleb Williams one.
Okay, gentlemen, let's bring it all on home here in our final category. Most regular season receiving yards. Receiving yards only for the 2024-25 season. Top 5, shocker, fastest man on the planet. So he says Tyreek Hill, plus 650. Justin Jefferson with Sam Darnold is plus 850. CeeDee Lamb, very, very rich person. He's now 9-1. Amon-Ra St. Brown is 10-1. Jamar Chase is 10-1. And that rounds up our top 5. Do you like someone in the top 5, Randy Wyke?
I do.
Or someone?
Chase. I like Jamar Chase. Again, back to my point.
That's right.
Burrow
We did mention
is gonna
Burrow.
have a great year.
Okay.
I love Jamar Chase this year. Now, I know he's banged up this week, so they're worried about whether he's going to start game 1.
Of
But
course.
I do like him.
There was a way for Randy to parlay those two propositions. Boy,
Yep.
oh boy.
What do you have on Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson, not too far behind the leaders at 15-1. As a matter of fact, just behind Chase, it's A.J. Brown at 13-1. Garrett Wilson, 15-1. I see what you're doing here, Nick Schulte.
I like Wilson.
You sure you don't have a New York Jets future ticket somewhere
I
in your
just think
pockets?
that, they have a great defense, and we'll see what happens if Rodgers can stay healthy, but I think it just definitely gives them a few options, and you have a beast like Hall in the backfield. I mean, who are you going to cover? It's kind of the same option that if you're a defense playing the Niners. They have so many weapons. I mean, at some point, somebody's got to be open, or it's going to be man coverage, and that's when they're going to make you pay.
Got to be targets.
I
everywhere.
can't figure out how come the Las Vegas Raiders don't have anybody in any one of those categories.
Nope, they do not.
Because there's no reason to.
And there's
Where
nothing
has
you
the
can do about it.
NFL gone?
In a
It's
better
all
way.
about money.
Raiders, I'm here with you, baby. Antonio,
Just
get
look at
some money.
Mark. Or is it Mark or Al, whatever his name is? Look at
Both.
his net worth when they left Oakland versus today. I mean, that's all you need to know.
It's gajillions
and
more.
look at what has the Raiders done in that time?
Lose.
Nothing. The same thing they've done for my entire life.
It breaks my heart. Antonio, get him fired up.
So that is everything a wrap for this incredible episode. Next week, we will, of course, as we always know, we've talked about this, it is going to be a pretty decent sized segment. I'm going to absolutely hold Randy's and Nick's feet to the fire as they will start to make their survivor selections.
And a big
also
thing
known as
next week, big thing, going to be narrowing down those title contenders in MLB. There's a month left, and some surprises. The June swoon drooms are happening here in August, and some of these teams, naming Baltimore Orioles, could be in trouble.
baseball, football, so much more. Thank you all so much for joining us. Can't wait to see you again next week.
Wait, Rob, I got one big thing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Labor Day weekend. And Baldini's is giving every player tomorrow night, Friday, a 30 by 60, and they are so cool and bright, a 30 by 60 USA flag, Nevada, Battleborn flag, beach towel. And everybody gets one. And I tell you, what a great weekend to kick off Labor Day weekend. You need to come down to Baldini's about 5:30. Oh, the gifts just keep coming.
Come get them.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Better Show. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service.